Did you happen to take a gander at what the Brooklyn Nets have done to the Milwaukee Bucks through 2 games in that series? In particular, what they did to the Milwaukee Bucks and Giannis last night. Did anybody happen to take a gander at that?
Yeah. Can I just ask this question, though? Is this a matter of just like home court advantage? Are we going to see Milwaukee go back and even the series, or is this just going to be that lopsided?
I mean, look, this was the series, and I think you had even mentioned this, that was the most anticipated, right? Because
I thought it was going to be the best the rest of the way, like including the NBA Finals.
I agree. I thought the way Milwaukee looked, especially in the opening round against Miami, and the way that Brooklyn looked against Boston, to where they were kind of figuring it out in the first half of that game 1, and then they just rolled afterwards. I thought, okay, here we go. And then James Harden tweaks his hammy again in the first game, and you're like, man, we are in for a long one. And then they come out, and they were up by 49, I think, at one point. Like, this is at what point during that game do you think Milwaukee was like, screw it? We're good here. We'll come back game 3 and try and figure this thing out. I mean, it was an absolute dismantling. Kevin Durant put on a show, had Jonas on skates at one point, and he just seems like he's getting better and better the healthier he gets as this goes along. But I don't know who's beating them right now. And this is without James Harden. I don't know that I look at any other team in either the Eastern Conference or the Western Conference and go, okay, that could be an issue, because let's be honest, whether it's Philly with Embiid not at 100% or the Hawks, who are a great story, but I don't think anybody really considers them a legitimate title contender, if Brooklyn gets through this round, they're on to the finals. I mean, I don't want to hear anybody from that other series having a chance against them.
Zero chance. You said Durant went off. You know what impressed me? And if you look at the box score, then you didn't watch the game. I thought Blake Griffin played really well.
You love Blake Griffin, man. There's
something
about...
I realize it's only 7 points, but he did have 8 boards. If anyone was watching, he did posterize Giannis, which one of the low-key all-time greatest moves for anyone who's ever dunked or has played like a pickup basketball game where there's no refs. It can get a little bit rough. What do you do when you're going up for a dunk? If you can use one hand with the ball, you take that offhand and you use it as traffic defense.
Oh, yeah.
He took his off arm and grabbed Giannis's arm and pulled it down as he just mashed in his face. But it did feel like without Harden, not that they're playing better, by the way, without James Harden, but it did feel like they kind of found their role or how they need to play with Durant and Irving as the primary scorers, and then Griffin and everyone else kind of playing those, complementary roles to what they're doing. I think that's one of the hardest things to do for any team, in particular an NBA team, is when you're missing a superstar, how do you adjust? And I think so far, at least against Milwaukee, they have been able to adjust just fine. And so no matter how long Harden's out, because, look, the hamstring injury has been an issue since, April?
Yeah, and he came back, and we never actually got a clear-cut answer on the hamstring, because I got conflicting reports that when he suffered the hammy injury during the regular season, it was called a strain, and now they're calling this one a strain as well, too. At what point do we just call it a pull? When do we venture off strain
It's
to
all
pull?
one and the same. It's like saying this. If you were going to go take an MRI of his hamstring right now, you would find micro tears. So really you could say it's torn. Now, I'm not a doctor, but this is typically how it works. Like, there's going to be small little muscle tears within that strain, within that pull, whatever you want to call it. And so it all depends on how long it takes him to heal, which it could take some time, as we talked about yesterday. Is it low? Is it high? I don't know, but it makes a big difference if it's high, especially for a basketball player and a guy like him who constantly stops and starts. All right, the hamstrings are the brakes of your body, and James Harden uses those brakes quite often to beat the brakes off his opponent. So if he's dealing with hamstring injuries, he's not going to be the same player for a while. Like, I would almost say if they get through this series 4-0, 5-1, like without him, I might say just wait until finals.
I was thinking the same exact thing, because I don't think you need him to beat Philly or Atlanta. No. If you don't need him so far to beat Milwaukee, and you can do what you did last night, and this series is over in 5 or 6, I'm not like, why rush him back? Why risk it when, your best competition is going to come out of the Western Conference.
Yeah.
And whether it's Utah, who's a good home team, and you've got to deal with that, and you want to make sure he's 100%, or it's the Clippers, in which they're deep, and you need all hands on deck.
Your team you picked to win the NBA Finals.
Well, listen, I didn't want to make this all about me. I know that a lot of people are like, hey, who do you like in the finals? Who do you got going to the finals? Because I am a bracket challenge master here at Fox Sports Radio. I've won the NCAA bracket challenge. Now, it was 2015, but I did win back in the day.
Did you? Because since you've been with me, you have been awful. In fact, one year, you forgot to fill it out all
right, listen.
Can I ask you this, though? Okay. How many people in the bracket were eliminated once the Lakers were eliminated?
There was a lot. And wow. Furthermore, there was only a couple of people who I think have the Clippers beating the Nets in the finals. And I just want you to know that you're working with one of them. Just want you to know that, Brady Quinn.
Yeah. I don't know how good I feel about that, but
bracket challenge guy.